of your traditional dumpsters, and I've got a little surprise. What do I find?
It's really clean in here. It's completely
Surprise!
clean. Look at that. This is like, it's empty, sadly.
Yeah,
but
there's nothing in here.
I'm sold. This is a hoot. And we're seeing other people drive by and waving, you know, and taking stuff from the other dumpsters too. So there's a real community over this.
Yeah, there totally is.
And some people are obnoxious, but most people are nice.
Yeah, everybody's great. I mean, we're sad that we see this much waste in the corporate community, but we're trying to do what we can to reuse it.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll see you later.
All right. Hasta la vista.
Using your.
Hello, my friends. Here we are again.
That's the one essential tool, huh?
This is my tool. This is my grabber. Unger. I'm not being paid by Unger, but this is the best $20 you'll ever spend if you're a dumpster diver. Do not waste your money at the dollar store. So here we are at the best smelling dumpster in my route. Look down there. My friend, if you shop at this store, just know that they throw out all of their testers. So look at all of this beautiful lotion and shower gel.
I'm not sure I see beautiful right now. But no. I totally understand.
So
and candles that they've lit in the store for 5 minutes.
So these are testers. I'm going to take this home because look, it's still 3/4 way full. If they had not been mean, but they're probably following their corporate instructions, they squeezed all of these out so that they're empty. Now there's probably still, this one's probably still half full, but the employees have really made a mess here.
So they squeeze out everything just to stop people like you from.
So they don't want people like me coming here and getting it out of the dumpster. They want me to come through the front doors. Well, let me tell you, I am not your normal consumer. This is pure gold right here. Pure gold, my friends.
Can you pause that one, Carol? Yeah, that's we've got one of Raleigh's premier dumpster divers here. Actually, you're out in the county, but that's the sign at Home Depot that says basically, get out of our dumpsters, right?
This is the one store I will not dumpster dive at.
Because they're clear, they're saying we claim all our trash.
That is a pretty explicit sign, if I do say so myself.
All right, let's come up. Let me introduce you to our dumpster diving guest today. Bridget, it's a pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much for the dumpster diving tour.
Yeah.
I want to talk about you see dumpster diving kind of as an ethical thing. I want to talk about that. But how did you get started? When you told me you were a dumpster diver, when you come into our store, and I never would have guessed that you give talks on dumpster diving to NC State students, and it's a moral issue for you.
It is.
How did you get started dumpster diving?
Well, I was just a college student hanging out with other college students, and we decided to check out the apartments after students leave. And students are very wasteful. They leave lots of things behind when they're ready to go home after the semester ends.
So apartment complex dumpsters are real finds.
Now they can be a mess too, but students leave a lot of stuff behind. So we were dumpster diving at apartments, and then I Googled dumpster diving, and I saw that a lot of people were actually dumpster diving at corporate places too. And so I decided maybe I should go check and see what kind of new stuff I can find.
Now tell me what you mean by corporate places. You're not just talking, you're not just talking about like going behind the Harris Teeter and trying to pick up the produce they throw out. What do you mean by corporate places?
Really, any big box store, not your mom and pop stores. They're not throwing things out. If they can't use it, they're finding some other way to use it. But we're talking any retailer that is across the nation that is, very well known.
You're talking, can I mention a couple of names?
We're talking Staples.
Staples, Office Max,
Pier 1,
Stein Mart,
Bed Bath & Beyond.
So those are the kinds of places that that's not what people usually think of as your typical dump. These are upper class joints you're dumpster diving in. Why did you start? So tell me about how you got started and what you found when you first started dumpster diving at these big box retail outlets.
Probably the biggest find I ever found was in my first winter of dumpster diving. I've been doing this for about 9 years, so I'm not new to this. Was at a craft store. It was after Christmas. I found cases of unopened Christmas ornaments, decorations. I had an SUV at the time, and I filled that thing twice and took everything back to my apartment. Brand new, never even been put on the shelves.
Now, do you resell some of this stuff, like on eBay or something?
I think most of that stuff I gave away to my friends. I just said, come to my apartment and shop. But since then, I've gotten more savvy about selling things because, let's face it, everybody has bills. And I really started this out because I had a lot of debt. I had some medical debt, and I couldn't afford to go shopping. But people really like to get new stuff. It kind of makes us happy. So I decided, well, maybe I can find new stuff dumpster diving. So when I do find things that I can sell, I do sell them on Amazon.
Have you been surprised at the amount of new stuff that gets thrown away at these big box stores?
It's amazing. Huh. It's appalling, really. Actually.
Appalling.
At the beginning, it was just exciting. Wow, look at all this new stuff I find. But now it's equal mixture of wow and I cannot believe we're doing this in America. What would happen if I hadn't come across this dumpster today? It
would be part of the Wake County landfill.
Yeah. So, North Raleigh landfill is going to fill up, and you know, by the time my daughter is my age, we're going to have a whole new landfill. So let's think about what we're putting in our landfills.
Now, you're a crop scientist, you've taught, you've done research, you're a mom. You are not, Carol, is she your typical dumpster diver? Don't you think some crusty kid, right? Some crusty punk. Do you meet a lot of crusty punks out in the dumpsters?
I meet characters.
Characters.
They are all characters.
Well, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't think I'm your typical dumpster diver. But maybe there is no typical dumpster diver. But for me, there's a lot of... I lay in bed at night, and I feel guilty about all this stuff that's going to the landfills.
And you're not even talking about food. You're talking about clothes, and you brought a few things.
I brought you some gifts, Todd.
Yeah. Show us what you got here.
Can everybody see this? This is actually from today.
Take off the from today.
This is from today.
From this morning.
Yes.
You went dumpstering this morning.
Yes, before work.
And this is just part of it.
I had a doctor's appointment. I went on my way back to work.
Can I ask where you went? Can you give us a general hint?
This is one of the top 10 worst stores in my opinion.
Really?
This was in Morrisville.
Morrisville.
Really nice shopping center over there. This is from
like a food store. Food Lion,
this was
really?
From Food Lion.
And they're one of the worst in terms of waste.
Yes, this is only one of 3 boxes that I found, plus a whole bunch of frozen stuff that was already, unfrozen by the time I found it. But Todd, let's look at this. Do our readers see, or our viewers, do they see anything wrong with this?
It's an unopened box of Ritz crackers. Yeah, but what's the expiration date?
Is it next May?
18th of May, 2015, Carol. 2015, this is expiring 6 months from now.
Yeah.
7 months from now.
So, Nabisco?
Why did they throw that away?
Well,
why is Food Lion throwing away unexpired Ritz cracker boxes?
I think it's actually Nabisco.
Nabisco.
I think, now we need to have somebody call in who knows more about this, but over my years of gathering data, because I am a scientist, I've learned that some companies rent store space. They rent shelves.
Oh,
so the Nabisco person comes around and stocks the shelves. When he or she takes that merchandise off the shelves, they do whatever they want with it.
And they throw it away. They've got the new shipment this month. If it didn't sell, they'd throw it away. But the stores are the ones who should be setting up something where this. I mean, this is unexpired. Most of this is unexpired. So you got what do you got? Honey Maid, Avengers, chocolate, crack cookies. Oh man!
So I
want some chocolate Avengers cookies. Look, Iron Man's on the box and everything. And these are unexpired for the most part. Oreos. You've got Oreos.
Maybe maybe the corner is mashed. Would you buy that, watchers, if you were in the grocery store, or would you bypass that because the corner's been dented in?
So part of the problem is that customers won't buy a dented box, is what you're saying.
You don't buy a dented box. Admit it, Todd.
Well, I don't. You're right.
I feel bad for this box when I go to the grocery store because I know nobody's going to buy that box. They're going to keep getting the one behind it.
Yeah.
And I know it's probably going to end up in the dumpster.
And it's a perfectly fine box.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah. And it's unopened. The box is, there's nothing wrong with it. But just because it's got that little dent. You're right. We're perfectionists. If an apple has a little spot on it, we're not going to buy it.
Yeah. Buy ugly fruit. I need to start a website.
Well, let me ask you, let's do this and there's wheat thins in here, and this is just one of 3 boxes that you got.
Yes, today, in one store, in one town.
Wow, wow. And Food Lion's one of the worst, you say?
Well,
Harris Teeter does better?
Harris Teeter does well. They donate most of their stuff to the Food Bank of Eastern North Carolina or the, Interfaith Food Shuttle. I've actually seen the trailer for Interfaith Food Shuttle parked at my local Harris Teeter picking up donations. And, you know, they give out all those donations to people.
Isn't there a legal concern that they're going to be giving away, like, you know, junky, rotten food that's going to make someone sick?
Sure, that's what everybody says.
Well, is it not true?
No. There is actually a legal statute called the Good Samaritan Food Act. And if you, as a retailer, in good faith, give away food that has been expired or that you've had on your hot bar or has been opened, if you don't think it'll make people sick and you donate it, you cannot be held liable.
You can't be
sued. The only
sued.
exception is baby food, you know, like baby formula.
Oh. Huh.
So under the Good Samaritan Food Act, you could not be sued. I think most of these stores are trying to avoid negative, you know, attention.
But hopefully you can bring some negative attention on them for wasting so much, because it's all going into our landfills, which are filling up ridiculously fast.
I've tried to talk to Food Lion. I've talked to their managers, and they deny that they throw things away in the dumpster. So I said, well, how come I keep finding things in the dumpster? And they said, oh, well, you'll need to talk to the Food Bank of Eastern North Carolina. When I emailed them, they said, well, we are picking things up. So there's some disconnect there, in that if the Food Bank of Eastern North Carolina does not go to my store and they don't want it sitting around in the back room, they just toss it.
But you're saying it's the responsibility of the store not to toss out food.
It is. You know,
they should find a way to make it work.
For me, it's a moral issue, because I actually work with farmers. I'm helping people to grow food better. You know, we're trying to feed hungry people. North Carolina is one of the worst as far as food insecurity, which means that 1 in 5 school children don't know where their next meal is going to come from. They either, you know, have parents that don't make enough money, they rely on the free and reduced school lunch programs. Maybe their parents are just sorry and don't cook for them. For some reason, North Carolina is one of the worst. So we have 1 in 5 school children that don't have enough to eat, and then this is happening.
Yeah,
in our
unexpired
town.
Stuff is just getting tossed in the dumpster.
I mean, to me, it's
well. We're talking with Bridget, who's you actually give talks on NC State's campus and elsewhere about how to dumpster dive and the legalities and all, and we want to talk about that. But we have the phone number. Let's put the phone number up, Carol, because we have a quiz for you, and we can give away a number of items here. You have some clothing too. I want to talk about the clothing thing too. Here's a question for you. There was one time when you were dumpster diving, you told me, when we went last Thursday, when you found something in a dumpster that you felt obligated to call the police about.
You know, it was bad if I had to call the police.
Because you don't want police attention when you're
Not necessarily.
knee-deep in Bed Bath & Beyond toss-offs.
I want to get all that stuff and put it in my car.
So if you feel like calling, we will give you some of our treasures from the dumpster. If you can guess. If you can just guess, the number is 996-6775. Guess what Bridget found in a dumpster locally in this area, the Raleigh, Cary, Morrisville area, that got her so like, oh my God, I better call the cops. Guess. Okay, so speaking of cops, what's the legality of you going in somebody else's dumpster and taking the trash for yourself? I mean, isn't that illegal?
I happen to know this firsthand, what the legality is. The reason I know is that an article was written in The Technician, which is the NC State newspaper, and brought attention to this. The first sentence of that article, unfortunately, said dumpster diving is illegal, but Bridget is teaching students how to dumpster dive. So it brought some...
That was incorrect, you said.
That was incorrect.
Huh.
So the university lawyers got involved, and I found out firsthand, dumpster diving...
The university lawyers got involved, always a good sign. Go ahead.
Dumpster diving is not illegal. There was a legal statute called Greenwood versus the state of California. And in that decision, they said dumpster diving is not...
The Supreme Court.
Yeah, because there were police officers that were getting information out of people's trash cans on the curb to use against them in court, and that's legal.
And the Supreme Court upheld that, which let dumpster divers in through the back door.
Right.
Supreme Court was protecting the police's right to go through your trash.
This is considered abandoned property now.
Oh.
If it's in the dumpsters.
Interesting.
It's actually, technically, if anybody wants to say they own it, it's the dumpster. It's the sanitation company.
But aren't you on private land when you're on the dumpster?
So I am on private land.
Yeah, that's the sticking point.
It could be considered trespassing if I wanted to be so prosecuted, if a police officer wanted to prosecute me, or a store. However, I have been stopped by at least 2 police officers. They never hassled me. They were only concerned about my safety, because I'm usually out there by myself as a female. So they just wanted to make sure that I was okay. And in one case, the female police officer, when I told her that I gave most of the stuff from this craft dumpster to my friend who is a school teacher, she said, honey, my husband's a school teacher and he only gets $200 a year for supplies. You just keep pulling it out. And she sat in her car and called her friend and said, you'll never believe what I just...
That's a great point. This is stuff that could easily go to the Wake County school system. Easily. Craft supplies from Michael's, from Office Max or Staples or whatever, or Hallmark, the Hallmark stores. All these stores are throwing stuff away.
A couple weeks ago I found probably about 25 kits to make stepping stones. So it's just concrete.
What are stepping stones?
They're like concrete, and then
for your garden.
Your kids can put their handprints in it or draw or whatever. You know, it's kind of a keepsake thing.
Oh wow!
Well,
Unopened.
It's the end of the summer that they need to put their Christmas items on the shelf. So they threw them all out. At Michael's is another one. They're top on the list of bad offenders. So luckily,
just throwing it out, not even thinking about giving it away to schools or people who could use it.
Do they have the time? Do they care? That's my question. I would really like to hear from people that actually work retail.
Yeah.
Because what is going through their minds? So I fished all those out of the dumpster and took them to my daughter's preschool, and their teachers have never been so happy to see me coming.
Wow.
They love
25 kits to make stepping stones where kids can put their hands in.
What great Christmas presents we're going to get this year. I already know what they're going to be.
Oh, that's great. We're talking with Bridget, who is one of the who is a crop scientist, a mother, and one of the premier dumpster diving dumpster divers. No, I'm acclaiming it because you're full of great information. Let me look at my list just to make sure. You said in one article that you think dumpster diving is a civic duty. Not just that it's not only not illegal, but actually everybody should be. It's a civic responsibility for people to dumpster dive and take trash and reuse it. What can you just talk more about that?
I think it's my civic duty because I know what's going on. I'm not saying that you need to go dumpster diving, but I'm saying you find a cause that makes you upset and do something about it. And when I talk to students on campus, I say, it's okay if you think I'm crazy. If I had heard this lecture when I was 19, I would have thought I was crazy too. But I wish I would have heard this lecture because Americans are such consumers that we're not thinking about what happens to everything in the waste stream. So for me, it is a civic duty because of the food insecurity issue that I already mentioned. We have people that are going hungry. Now, I didn't start out pulling food out of the dumpster. That's a little extreme. I started out just getting craft supplies and pet food for my dogs and cats. But it really does keep me up at night thinking that here I've been doing this for 8 years and I haven't seen any change in what we're doing with our waste stream. And it's just filling up in the landfill. I mean, environmentally, that's a nightmare.
And one of the things you taught me when you took me dumpster diving, when you showed that footage with how clean the dumpster was, is most of the stuff is packing waste.
Yes.
Cardboard, or sometimes they recycle the cardboard, but plastic bags that clothes come in at Steinmart, plastic coat hangers.
So when I talk to students, I tell them, think about all the resources that went into making this food, clothing, whatever it is, that I found in the dumpster.
Yeah.
First of all, the farmer had to grow that wheat. Then he had to harvest it. So he's using fossil fuels and time and fertilizer and water.
And the packaging.
Then he had to haul it to the processor. Yep. Then they had to manufacture it. They had to put it into a box.
Yep.
And then they had to put it on a semi and haul it to the grocery store. And then somebody had to put it on the shelf in the grocery store.
And then all of that energy and all of that effort, and it just gets thrown in the dumpster, unopened, not past its expiration date, just gets tossed. And that's going on at a huge scale all across the country.
It may be a local issue. When I travel around, I do go check other people's dumpsters in other states, and I have friends that live on the West Coast, and they've tried dumpster diving to no avail. So they don't find stuff.
It's better there.
I think it is.
You've said in some other countries like Japan or far lands like Seattle that they actually have a different kind of way of handling their waste stream. Can you talk about that?
And maybe that's why this affects me, because I grew up in the state that started the bottle bill. We do not throw away cans and bottles. We recycle them. Oregon.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, one of our senators started the bottle bill. So I grew up recycling everything that I could. So this gets on my last nerve to see this happen. But Seattle has just recently, this month, passed an ordinance where they will require people to compost all of their food waste. Food waste will not go in the regular waste stream. It will go in a separate compost bin.
That's a huge part of what goes into our landfill.
It's estimated that 30% of our waste stream is food waste.
And that could all easily be turned into beautiful soil for people. Yeah.
And then in Japan, if you think about Japan, they have a very small land mass. They don't have room for big landfills. So in Japan, they have extremely stringent restrictions on how they recycle their It's #1 plastic. It's a lithium battery. It's a paper bag. They have to put it in the right recycle bin. If you don't do that, you're considered immature and it gets returned to you. You might even be fined for not recycling in the correct manner. And then they incinerate most of their waste. I don't know how environmentally safe that is, but that's their solution to their, you know.
But the recycling, they take it very seriously. And they take the recycling very seriously.
I had a student confirm that in my last lecture that I gave. He was from Japan.
Oh yeah, the food shuttle, folks, the Interfaith Food Shuttle does really good stuff. And there's a gleaning network too, where people go and glean food out of farmers' fields. But this is just disgusting. These are unopened, non-expired packages. All that energy just getting tossed into these dumpsters. My hat's off to you. I think what you're doing is a noble, noble cause. So what are some of the best stores that you've seen? What are some of the stores that really do a good job?
That are responsible, or that I find a lot of stuff?
Oh, that's true.
Best.
No, best, worst for the dumpster divers, best for society.
Okay, REI is really good.
Really?
They save almost all of their returns, and they have a garage sale. They roll up the back doors on their loading dock and have a garage sale several times a year.
Oh,
so
wow.
all their stuff that gets returned. So Bath and Body Works, they're bad. Bed Bath and Beyond, super bad.
Really? They squeeze out the half-empty bottles of
those are
stuff.
all testers.
Yeah.
But Bed Bath and Beyond, man, if you buy a set of sheets or a towel at Bed Bath and Beyond, you take it home, one of the seams unravels, or you just decide you don't like it and you take it back, they cannot put it back on, well, they choose not to put it back on the shelf and resell it. So that all of that goes in the dumpster. I mean,
I worked at REI and we recycled everything.
Yeah.
Carol says she worked at REI and they recycled everything.
Yeah. REI's great.
I mean, they're good
Yeah.
Right.
Well, let's look at this. You found this morning.
Okay.
Tell us about this. And there's an interesting element to it as well. But can you get a close-up of that, Carol? Or show that? What is that? It's a little onesie, right?
Okay, so
what is that?
Yeah, this is like a little shirt onesie for a boy. It's from Oshkosh. Let's see what the price tag says on it. $16.99 from Bye Bye Baby. Really cute. But they have.
What was the problem? Why was that in the dumpster this morning?
Well, what I love is when they attach these papers that give the reason why they threw it away. And this one says dirty. It was on the store doll clothes, which means they put it on the baby mannequins in there to display what it looked like. Wow. And then after they took it off the mannequin, I mean, really, how dirty is it? They spray painted it orange, and this just infuriated.
And then threw it in the dumpster.
And then threw it.
So why did they spray paint it? Why did they spray paint it?
Well, there's probably good reason for this. They have probably experienced employee theft. So you throw this in the dumpster at Bye Bye Baby, you get off at 5, you go around the back and you get it. You can be fired for that.
Yeah.
But they're probably trying to discourage me and employees.
Sometimes you found ripped stuff, like they take razor blades.
They're also trying to discourage me from going and getting this out of the dumpster and going around to the front of the store and returning it for a store refund.
Oh, well, that's fair. That seems fair. But still, it seems
Why couldn't they just donate it to Goodwill in the first place?
That's the question, isn't it? Why won't they donate it to Goodwill?
I do not know.
Yeah, they throw out perfectly good, all the work, all the effort in some third world country that went to making this thing. And all they do is they put it on a mannequin for a few days and then throw it in the dumpster when it's done.
This makes me so mad.
Instead of donating it.
Yeah.
It's not like the people who go to Goodwill are going to really compete with them, you know?
No.
Wow. And you were showing me too, aside from the spray paint, they slash things with razor blades or do, just make it completely so that nobody can use it.
Right.
That's
kind
really
of infuriating. Break chairs apart. I find lots of furniture that's broken and spray painted.
Really?
Yeah.
But you've also found lumber that you can use in these dumpsters.
Yeah, we met somebody who took my 2 pieces of lumber.
That's right. She was like, "Oh, that's good lumber. We'll come back and get it when when you go back to your car." And then we'd see somebody driving by waving, "Hey!" and the lumber's in the back of his car. I'm sorry about that. You would have grabbed it if I wouldn't have been in your passenger seat. You would have put that lumber through the window.
No problem.
So there's not the police. You've never had a problem with. Can you guess, people, what it was that she found in a dumpster once that had her call the police? I'll give you a hint. It wasn't a dead baby.
No dead bodies.
Now, was it a living baby?
No.
Oh, not a living baby.
The scariest living thing I've ever found in a dumpster is raccoons and possums.
We saw some crows there too at the pet stores.
Yeah.
The pet stores throw out all these big bags of food.
My
and the
friends-
crows all hover. We had to run some crows off, Carol, to go to the dumpster behind a PetSmart.
This is something I tell you, if you go and buy your pet expensive food at PetSmart, and when you're at the checkout counter and you swipe your debit card and it says, do you want to donate $1 to poor homeless pets? Say no, because they are throwing out thousands of dollars of dog food out the back door.
Wow. We saw it. I saw it with my own eyes. They cut out the UPC code, and that's it, Carol. The whole bag with the minus the UPC code just goes in the dumpster. Why not donate that to a store?
I had a student.
That's so stupid. I'm sorry, not a store. You know, a
Humane
shelter.
Society.
A shelter. Yeah.
I actually had a student who worked at the Wake County Humane Society. She got her manager to try to talk with the manager at the PetSmart, and they said, we're sorry, we cannot donate it. And I'm sure they're afraid of some poor pet dying from, but you know what?
All they do is cut off the UPC code.
There's probably not, sometimes there are pet food recalls.
Yeah. 1 minute? Okay.
Sometimes.
But you think what? Oh yeah. But you think that they could find a way to work through it that would legally protect them,
right?
Given that, So tell us what you found in a dumpster that got you to call the cops.
I found mail that had not been delivered.
Ooh.
It wasn't just like magazines. It was like real letters from the government, bills.
Oh,
and
that's really scary.
It was a bad deal.
So you called the cops.
It was on Tryon Road.
Did the cops ask? Oh, how did you?
The cops came and got all of it.
Yeah.
I left and went home. But they called me back and said, how did you find out about this? And I said, I was dumpster diving. And they said, you know, you're not supposed to be doing that. I said, yeah.
But it's not illegal. Right. And I haven't been trespassed from your land yet. 10 seconds. Bridget, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Go to my Twitter page. We have lots of links up about dumpster diving, and we'll see you next week.